Hey everyone, welcome. If you're not familiar, I'm on a march to startup. What that means, I'm dropping out of my PhD in about 5.5 months, and I'm taking an approach to this a little bit different than the typical building in public. Because for me, I realize I want to be a little bit transparent in sort of all the pre-planning steps that it takes to get there. And what that pre-planning includes is things such as setting up a project management system, getting my customizing my Mac for efficiency, as however that may sound, setting up all my folders, organizing everything, figuring out my health and getting it in check. That's a big one that I'm gonna make a series about coming up. Figuring out my finances and getting that in check. So these are all videos that all things that I need to work on and that I want to share to have sort of a transparent view of all the different things that go on in that, because I don't have a life where I can just stop what I'm doing and just build every single day, all hours of the day. I have other commitments. I'm still a PhD student, still have to do research, want to leave my PhD on a good note, and want to still have a reputation, have some expertise in my PhD field, which is machine learning, artificial intelligence. So there are things that I need to balance, and it's a balancing act. And actually, one of the issues with the way I'm approaching my YouTube is I think it's killing my momentum a little bit, because I am sharing all these different aspects. It's bringing in people that are not necessarily, it's bringing in people from all over the place, and it's not quite resonating completely with everyone. So I'm pulling in different people as a small channel, and when I sort of shift focus, it's, in a way, it's killing my momentum and momentum on YouTube for my channel. But I'm still working on this. I'm still trying to go as fast as I can on my march to startup. And so I am going to share some updates on what I've worked on so far. But anyways, what I was aiming to say with what I was saying was that I think for the next 2 weeks, until I can actually start building and showing some of the business and entrepreneurial and tech tasks and milestones that I can work on. And while I'm still in that pre-planning phase, I think I'm just going to share weekly highlights of what I worked on, and in broad having sort of one video where I just summarize everything that went into that week. And so for this week, this is sort of like a summary of the past few days, because I have been not building every day in public, but I still have been working on it behind the scenes. But anyways, my current step: customize my Mac, set it up for efficiency and productivity. And what that means, what that looks like, is this guide that I made. So I'm using Obsidian for note taking. I just write my guides, publish it on my GitHub for anyone that wants to sort of follow the steps that I've been working on. And so this is published already on my GitHub. I'll have the link. You can check out my 2 other guides. One guide for how to start using Obsidian. I also have a YouTube video on that. Another guide on my project management system, also on my GitHub. And then the one I just completed is computer productivity, and specifically for Mac. Eventually, I would like to have options for Windows and Linux, but I don't have time right now. I'm working on a march to startup, so if you have a Mac, congratulations. If you don't, I encourage you to maybe build something like this for yourself. It's not just for me to share with people, it's also for me to reference and understand how I set things up and reference in the future. So just walking through it really quickly, I am going to make a summary video eventually. Right now I just have a lot of stress, so I don't think I'll have the right energy to make that video at the moment and pull in the people I want to pull in. So right now you get sort of a sneak peek. You can go ahead, well, it's already on GitHub. You can go ahead and look at it, but eventually I will make a video on this. So essentially, computer productivity comes down to like 3 sections. First is the system settings on your computer. Second is the software and tools that your computer comes with. And then third is whatever core applications you want to install for productivity. So system settings, this is just going through your Mac system settings and customizing it. And for reference, you can have this vault open up your system settings, and then just walk through and see what sort of changes I've made. And that can help you in going through the changes quicker yourself. So yeah, went through all the settings, wrote down everything that I changed here. Now the second part is Mac comes with a lot of great applications already, and a lot of them we're not familiar with. And so part of me maximizing my efficiency with using my Mac is understanding what does the Mac come with already, and in general raising awareness in case in the future I need something, I sort of know where to look. And so for these, I made notes on how I'm using them if I am using them. But if I'm not using them, then they have sort of YouTube videos that raise your awareness and give you an understanding of what it looks like. So we can dive through a couple. Activity monitor. This helps with checking which apps and processes are unresponsive, closing them, seeing how your computer is using energy and memory, and monitoring other areas of your computer's system status. And then another one, Automator. This one I didn't end up using, but it seems like a pretty cool app because you can automate a lot of things. And there's actually a YouTube video showing how you can automate just spam following a lot of people on Instagram, which was crazy. So there's a lot of capabilities with the applications your Mac already comes with. And then the next part is core apps for productivity. And the first one was Alfred. Alfred is like Spotlight, so this lets you search whatever you want on your computer. You can search applications, files, you can set up workflows. So with a click of a button, just run things. You can do like, convert. So this helps me just right away convert, let's see, like 5 to kilograms. So these things you typically maybe have to search on Google. It takes you a couple seconds, but within a second I can easily search a lot of these things. And it's little things like this where if you spend a few seconds, a few minutes every day, and if Alfred just helps you cut that time, you're going to be saving hours and days over the years. Next one is Alt Tab. This one just helps you see what tabs are open. I'm not going to show because I think I have like some tabs I don't want to show. But I do show pictures here. So this shows you all the windows that are open. And then if you want to look at all the windows within a specific app that you have open, then you can do that as well with another hotkey. So I have all that information here on how I set it up and how the application can work. And I can just walk quickly through all the other ones. Amphetamine, this one helps keep your Mac awake when you're working on a task and you just don't want it to go to sleep or turn the display off. You can just flip it on with this little button and it stays awake. The other one is Logi options. This, if you have a Logitech keyboard or mouse, you have a lot of software customization options. And if you don't have a Logitech keyboard or mouse, maybe you want to consider it. It's one of the best keyboards I've had. I've been using it for the past few years, and don't really need anything else. Next one is Magnet. This one helps you move apps quickly like this around your screen, which is great. I don't have to manually try to click and drag, and I don't have to deal with that. The next one is Monitor Control. This one, I think, lets me change the brightness of both my monitors. So I have a Mac and then an external monitor. And I have to like use the buttons on the bottom of the screen and try to figure out, or not try to figure out, but like fidget with it for a little bit to change the brightness. While with this, I can just change it from here. Next one, screen mirror over USB. Just connect my iPad to my Mac, and I use it to share my iPad when I'm taking notes for my second YouTube channel. And the last one, Trash Me. This one's great because with applications that you download, they're going to have leftover files. So if you see here, for example, Activity Monitor. We can't delete this one, but it's just an example. So there's the main application, but then there's also loose files that are associated with Activity Monitor. And if you just delete the main application, you're going to leave behind these junk files, and it can build up over time. So something like this can help manage those loose files, and it also helps. So it also has a space management screen which shows you a breakdown of how your Mac is sort of using your memory. And then with all these, if they cost money, I try to include an alternative that's free that I used to use at some point. Yeah. And then to top it all off, right here. So all of these productivity apps have lots of different hotkeys, and so I try to make like a comprehensive list of all the different hotkeys in all these different apps. So just looking, Alfred has a lot of hotkeys. Alt-Tab has some hotkeys as well. Logi Options has a lot of hotkeys, medium amount of hotkeys. I just haven't set them up. I haven't found a need yet, and I do want to set them up based on how I think would speed up my workflow. So I do need to like do some thinking and just observing when I'm using it, how I can speed up my workflow. Mac, if you didn't know, already has many hotkeys. I just took some of the ones from their full list, the ones that I typically use, as so I can remind myself. But you can look at that if you want. Magnet has its own hotkeys. Obsidian, this isn't necessarily like a core Mac productivity app. It is, but it's more note-taking. So, and it also has its own file. So I did link that here. And then Trackpad. This is just your computer's trackpad, and it has like its own sort of hotkeys, as well as screenshots, which actually doesn't make sense having it in trackpad, but it's whatever. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on, and I finished. Now the only thing left for me to do is maybe tie up some loose ends, which I won't do now. Those loose ends are more so in the future, while I'm working, observing how I want to tweak and refine what I've already set up. So the next thing for me to do is now start to set up a folder file structure. I have lots of files across my Mac, thumb drives, backup drives, and files are just all over the place. I have business links, business YouTube videos, podcasts, in Word documents, in notes, in different areas across all these different storage devices in different folders. And it's it's sort of all over the place, and I need to organize it and just have like a clean system that I'm using to allow me to go through MarchToStartup a lot quicker. It does take some time to set up and go through all the files, so there's a trade-off. But I try not to spend too much time on it, just enough where I have a solid foundation, then I run with it. So setting up a folder file structure is going to take me like 2 days, so the next 2 days. And then after that, starting to organize it. This I think is going to take the most time. So here's what happened. I transferred all my files from my Mac onto a backup drive and just completely restarted my Mac. So right now, all my files are all over the place. Let me skip this song. Let's go actually for something like So yeah, all my files are everywhere. Need to take some time, get them all sort of merged and have a, what's the word, like a consolidated folder file structure. Once I do that, just want to make a bit of a plan on how I'm going to maintain it and make sure that I'm not going out of my way to have this folder file structure, that it's actually enhancing my workflow and not just slowing me down, because in my head it's great, but in reality it's not. I don't want that. So setting up a maintenance plan to make sure it's good, and then whatever I need to encrypt, and just make sure if I lose a drive or something, that I'll be fine. Yeah, so that's basically until the end of the month. Let's see. Create videos on organization. Yeah, so once I do that, summarizing everything that I've learned over the past week that I've done, and sharing that video. So what this means, if you're strictly here for entrepreneurship, tune in maybe 2.5 weeks, the start of February. That's when I'm going to start making my plan on how I'm going to reach to 5K per month in passive income. And I don't intend to make this video long. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all I have to share. I do have a second YouTube channel where, and this is actually another reason why my plan is going a little bit slower than I intended to. I'm a PhD student and I'm basically doing research for 2 projects. One of them I have no experience in. It's like large language models, giving in chest radiology report and the image and trying to generate the report automatically for an image. So detecting what's wrong with the heart, the lungs, just with the large language model like ChatGPT. So that's one project. The other project is basically using smartphones to automatically measure wounds. And it might be something I share on my second channel. But the point being, those two, especially with the first project that I need to ramp up on, they've been taking a lot of my time, and I don't think it'll last forever. It'll just be like these next 2 weeks while I'm still ramping up. But it's not, it was sort of like a detour that I have to work through. Yeah, I think that's all. I'll keep it short. I'm probably forgetting a lot. But recap for today, 5-minute recap for today. So I am not posting as much because my journey isn't quite just building and just entrepreneurship. Right now I'm in sort of the pre-planning phase and really building a solid foundation. And it's pulling in different people, I think. And so it's hard to keep everyone entertained. And so I'd rather just post once a week for now while I'm in the pre-planning. I'll still be transparent. I'll still share like a summary, but it just won't be every day, because I know those videos are gonna pull in the fewest views, and it's gonna just kill the channel's momentum. Yeah, so that's first update. Second update, I've finished customizing my Mac for efficiency. I uploaded those notes onto my GitHub under the computer productivity folder. Check that out. If you look at those, you'll see something like this, where it shows the system settings, built-in software, core applications for my Mac that I've set up. And then at the end, you have a consolidated, comprehensive list of hotkeys to set up on your Mac. And then my plan for the future, for the next about 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks, I am going to finish setting up my foundation. So building the folder file structure I want for my Mac and organize all the different thumb drives, hard drives that I have. and set up a maintenance plan, and then share that. At that point, I'm going to have sort of all my ducks in order. I think that's the right saying, but February 1st, come back if you don't like these, if you're not into this pre-planning stuff. But if you are, check it out. If you're not, come back February 1st. We're going to get into entrepreneurship, tech, and building a realistic plan. Because I think a lot of channels, they just go into, I'm going to build this, don't really give you the insight behind why or how they know it's going to work. It's just a lot of hope, and maybe they get lucky, maybe they don't. But I want to be transparent in the planning. February 1st, tune in. It'll take about 3 days to plan. Once we do, off to the races. See y'all whenever I make my next video.